Immigration, the act of moving to a different country to permanently relocate. Reasonings behind this can range from political asylum to work opportunities. Because of the ever-changing stance on immigration on the governmental and social level, how have different administrations used their power to attempt to benefit or hinder the immigrant experience? Throughout history, immigrants have come to America in search of new opportunities and freedoms, but have been subject to large amounts of discrimination. For example, during the 1850s, large numbers of Chinese immigrants came to California during the gold rush. But many unemployed workers blamed the Chinese for depressed wages and lack of jobs during the economic recession in the 1870s. This led to the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. With more and more immigrants coming to the U.S. every single year, discrimination towards them continues, as we can see examples of this all the way to the present day. Immigration policies and reforms continue to shape how immigrants are viewed and treated. There are many policies that were enacted in the past 20 to 30 years that continue to influence the ratification of immigration reforms today. Picking up with President Bill Clinton, his administration held a strict stance towards immigration. In 1996, Clinton signed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act, which significantly expanded the number of crimes for which immigrants could be deported. This bill subjected many more immigrants, including legal permanent residents, to detention and deportation. We sat down to talk to Sasha Maniar, a student attending the City University of New York studying immigration law.
Many immigrant folks for small criminal ground issues. This criminalization particularly impacted Black and brown folks because at the same time he had passed the crime bill, which was disproportionately criminalized, policing Black and brown community members. Black folks are getting more disproportionately impacted, more criminalized, and being put into these deportation proceedings in much higher numbers.
The George W. Bush administration's stance on immigration was greatly influenced by the events of 9/11. After 9/11, one of the policies Bush approved was the Enhanced Border Security and Entry Reform Act of 2001, which tightened the borders, required more information to be provided when applying for a visa, and entry-exit tracking systems. This made it harder for Muslim immigrants to immigrate because of the negative sentiment surrounding them after the attack.
After 9/11, there was the P3T1 Act and all these other acts around that were basically criminalizing Muslim folks. Obviously, he has drastically impacted the ways that Muslim folks in particular have experienced immigration issues at the borders.
Following with the Obama administration, one major program enacted under his presidency was the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA. However, some of those protected under the program feel that it didn't do enough for them and enforces negative stereotypes.
A lot of folks who are undocumented, who are under DACA, feel it's actually doesn't go far enough, and it actually furthers this narrative of the good immigrant. He deported a lot of people who had criminal convictions and used that to kind of say oh, we're getting rid of the immigrants who are dangerous, right? But that's a flawed theory and a flawed perception to continue to uphold.
President Trump's immigration policies largely differed from Obama's. In 2017, the Trump administration ended DACA and in 2018 instituted a zero-tolerance policy. This policy separated more than 2,500 families in the span of just 3 months.
The system is set up in this way that fundamentally excludes and prioritizes certain people over other people, and those things are clearly class related and clearly racialized.
Because it caused a major public outrage, the policy ended up being revoked in June of that same year. In addition, Trump launched an executive order travel ban that applied to refugees as well as green card holders who were legal residents of the U.S. These are only a few of the significant immigration policies and reforms enacted throughout, but it's becoming more and more clear that Americans want their voices to be heard and represented, not silenced when they disagree with certain policies or reforms. Throughout history, policy reform started in the form of suppressing immigrants due to favor from the general public, but now the conversation becomes increasingly divided as more and more Americans find themselves advocating for different views. For more info, visit the official ACLU website and be sure to keep yourself informed about current events regarding immigration.